friends. I have nothing for you this week. Nothing happened. Just kidding. I have quite a bit for you this evening, and yeah, it's been not so long since I saw you last because I went live, what was it, 2 days late last week. So it was surprisingly, when I was putting all my notes together, I was like, oh, we already went through a lot of this, which is kind of cool, which means we stuff more. So let me just refresh this because it is frozen, which is fun. And there you guys are. Hiya. Still frozen, but this looks okay, so I think it's fine. Thank you. Hi. Oh yeah, my shirt. If anybody can tell me what book this is from, you will win a handgun and a wink. Howdy, howdy. I'm refreshing my page and it's just, there we go. Now it's working. Stupid ads. Thank you guys. So the first thing, wait, I want to see first if anybody knows what book this is from. Whatever, we'll get it later. Nope, not the Bible. It's not burning me. Just kidding. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is just that Trump has added to his legal team. This was really exciting news. Representatives Doug Collins, Mike Johnson, Jim Jordan, Debbie Lesko, Mark Meadows, John Ratcliffe, Elise Stefanik, and Lee Zeldin have joined the congressional members of President Trump's impeachment legal defense team, which was exciting to hear. I like a few of those people a lot, so we shall see. Whoa, that's really bright. Okay. I wanted to go over this Puerto Rico stuff too, if you guys haven't seen it. It is, and if nobody gets the book, I'll tell you guys at the end, or once I'm done going through all just the little news things that I have. So a Puerto Rico, a Facebook Live video was going around from Puerto Rico, and basically this man got into a warehouse. I saw actually a map of where this, or not a map, I just saw an aerial picture of this warehouse. It's literally in the same parking lot as the government building. And it was hiding massive amounts of FEMA supplies, food and water, diapers, baby wipes, et cetera, that were meant for the victims of Hurricane Maria in September of 2017. And they were just sitting there. And so far, the, I'm looking for, yep, thank you, Joshua Rice. Well, it's Ayn Rand, but it's the book Anthem. Thank you. Oh, you guys are good. Your chat is delayed. I know it's not you guys that are delayed. You guys are very smart. Anyway, so all of these supplies, I put a link to the a tweet that has the video in it, and you can see this man going through this giant warehouse. I'm not talking like a couple boxes of diapers and like a few boxes of bottled water. It was enough to sustain a lot of people for a long time. And it was completely just sitting there. The mayor of San Juan, whose name is Carmen Yulin. You guys might remember her from, there was video going around of her actually trashing President Trump and FEMA for not doing enough, for not sending enough supplies. And if you'll recall, she was wearing a shirt that said nasty. She's a huge critic of President Trump. She obviously really doesn't like him. The nasty reference is in reference to, who'd he call nasty? He called somebody a nasty woman, and that was like a huge no-no. And so this woman made a t-shirt that said nasty. And anyway, so she was criticizing, blasting him really for not sending enough supplies. Lo and behold, here they are sitting in a warehouse 2 years later. Also, Ben Carson, who's the U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, HUD made a statement that HUD would be temporarily withholding emergency funds for Puerto Rico. I don't know if you guys remember this. Thank you, Michael. Basically, he was saying after the recent earthquakes that they were going to be withholding the emergency funds because he basically cited potential corruption, that they were looking into potential corruption and fiscal irregularities in the Puerto Rican government. Well, yeah, these people were holding these supplies, this aid from citizens who desperately needed it. And it's crazy. It's really crazy. It's like these people would rather watch their own people starve and suffer just to make this president look bad. And so far, we've had 3 top officials in the Puerto Rican government that have been fired: the Housing Secretary, Fernando Gil, and Department of Family Secretary, Glormar Andujar, and Carlos Acevedo, the Puerto Rican Commissioner of National Emergency Management and Disaster Relief Agency. And I've seen some videos and some tweets and everything from people in Puerto Rico, people from Puerto Rico who have been affected by these earthquakes, and they're furious. They were displaced and waiting for aid, and they are just incensed, no doubt. Wouldn't we all be? So that we will see what's going on with that. Ilhan Omar is now being investigated by 3 federal agencies for various crimes. So the FBI, the Department of Education Inspector General, and ICE are all investigating Ilhan Omar. So the Department of Education is considering evidence that Ilhan married a UK citizen in 2009, perhaps to commit student loan fraud or other education fraud. She attended North Dakota State University from 2009 to June 2011. The marriage only lasted from 2009 to June 2011, and she still lived with her first husband throughout that marriage. ICE is considering evidence that Ilhan Omar also married a UK citizen, her brother, in 2009, perhaps committing immigration fraud. So those are unfolding. I have 2 articles linked below to that. I have the current one that has this, and then I have one that's from a few months ago that's kind of going over the background of this. When we first started to hear that this was potentially, basically what happened from my point of view, is that they had reason to investigate her a long time ago. They already knew about these things, but under Jim Comey and with everything going on with that, it just kind of got brushed under the rug. Or you could look at, several reasons why this would have maybe gotten brushed under the rug, but it is no longer being brushed under the rug, and she is now being investigated by not 1, not 2, but 3 departments. Lord Hall to step down as BBC's Director General. Here we have another resignation, I guess you could call it. Tony Hall is to step down as Director General of the BBC in the summer after 7 years in the role. The article basically says, he made the decision to step down for, I don't even remember, some kind of loose, business, he was saying that it should be the same person in charge for this year and this year, and I don't even know, you guys can read it. It's not that exciting, but it is worth mentioning just because we know the BBC, well, first of all, they are a main source of media in the UK. Were deeply connected to the cover-ups of at least what Jimmy Savile was up to, and yada yada. So that's interesting. Howdy, guys. Okay, so I want to talk about the gun rally in Virginia. I will admit, okay, I am one of those very comfy, trust the plan kind of people, but I will admit that leading up to this gun rally, I was getting very nervous, and I just didn't know what to expect. I wasn't really saying that. I didn't want to be an alarmist, but with the things I was seeing, it was making me very worried that something was going to go down, and I'm not the only one. In fact, I really thought that this was going to be a very small turnout based on some of the things that were circulating. I was like, if I was there, I I wouldn't have gone. And I know I'm a coward, but I guess I just assume that most people are cowards like me. But no, an estimated 22 to 25,000 people were there. An estimated 16,000 of those were armed. That's actually a low estimate. And lo and behold, no one was shot. No one was arrested. There was no vandalism. There were no assaults. Actually, one person was arrested that I saw, and it was actually a young girl who was just refusing to take off her mask, I guess, when she was asked. They told her to take off her mask, which isn't that funny, because how many times do we see those Antifa people walking around with their faces covered, and nothing ever seems to happen to them? I actually agree with, I don't think you should be able to cover your face like that, especially in a situation where tensions are high, or in certain such situations where, like, for example, you're walking into a bank, or you know, just there are times when it is definitely not appropriate to have your face covered and look suspicious. See, speaking of suspicious, I also retweeted this, and I think I have a link to the tweet below. There was a video of a guy that was standing there, and I think he was a possible infiltrator. So one of the things that we were hearing before this rally was that there were buses of Antifa that were coming in to dress as MAGA, to dress as patriots, to pretend like they were there to support the Second Amendment, and then to start trouble, cause trouble, and not only, you know, get it shut down, but make the cause look bad, make the people look bad. So that was my biggest concern, because I know patriots, and I know the people, the good people of this country they just want to be left alone. They don't want their guns because they want to go out and scare people or assault people. They want them for their protection. They want them in case of, you know, tyranny that tries to take hold of our country. But we know that one of the MOs of these people, I guess you'd say, is to actually infiltrate, make it look like they are one of us and cause problems. And so there was this guy standing there. Somebody was giving, the beginning of the altercation is kind of cut off, but from what I gather in the beginning, somebody is up there kind of speaking, and a guy who, he's got a mask around his neck, you can tell he's got one of those face things like pulled down around his neck, is like, yeah, like, we should start the revolution today. And a couple of people were like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then he's like, you want to go in there and in that gate and kill that guy? I don't know if he was talking about the governor, Ralph Northam, who was behind a fence, but he said something about like going in there and killing somebody. And immediately everybody around him went, whoa, pointed to him, took their phones out, started recording him, and said, that is extreme. Don't say things like that. Why are you saying things like that? Why are you here? The guy got obviously like uncomfortable. He's like, no, well, no, I'm just saying, like, no, I'm calling out what he was saying. And the people just called him on it. They were like, what are you? Are you a conservative? He's like, I'm a libertarian. He like almost vomited on the word. And it was just handled perfectly. In that situation, you don't want to be like confrontational, but you want to assertively point these people out, collectively let them know they need to leave. Let's say I saw somebody saying like, well, you know, maybe he was just asking a question. Sorry, no. In that situation, when you know, tensions are high, and we know that there are people there trying to make us look bad, you just don't say things like that. Just like you don't say the word bomb when you go into an airport. It doesn't matter what you are saying or if you're joking, you just don't do it. So yeah, everything went really well, I think, beautifully, in fact, at the rally. I saw videos of people cleaning up garbage after everybody. I haven't seen that at the Women's March or any of these other Antifa. I saw somebody call them Aunt Quifa. And I thought that was just lowbrow enough for me to laugh at. But that, you know, that was beautiful. This is exactly how it should be done. Peaceful assembly, people getting along. You could kind of see even just from the videos, the love and the camaraderie that was in the air. Lots of people just, you know, getting along, They did their thing, and when they left peacefully, they cleaned up after themselves, and that's awesome. Obviously, there was the narrative going around that this was a white supremacy rally, and I always feel kind of stupid, but I had to do this. So many people were saying that. In fact, I commented on somebody's tweet and said something like, just protect our patriots today. That triggered a lot of people for some reason. And I had people accusing me of basically saying like, oh, you only care about the white people, right? So I had to show them that this was not a white supremacy rally by any means, that there were many people of color there, which makes me feel really lame. I hate that I have to do that. It should not matter. I shouldn't have to be picking out the pieces, collecting all the pictures of people of color and the videos of them to have to be like, see, but this is the world we live in, I guess, right now. And it was the only thing that was going to shut them up, because I sent one video. I was like, actually, it wasn't just because the guy was black. He was literally, it was a video of this man talking about how this rumor was going around that this was a white supremacy rally, and he actually summed it up beautifully about why those people were really there. I showed her that video, and she was like, oh, okay, so one black guy was there. It's like, okay. So I got my little collection together and was sending people. There were obviously people there of all colors. I saw, you know, women, pro 2A women. I saw signs that were for, you know, LGBTQ pro guns, or this was a intersectional, God, whatever. Lots of people are pro 2A. This is not a white thing. This is not any one type of person thing. So suck it. But okay, so this is really this had me scratching my head. Okay, so 6 members of an alleged U.S. neo-Nazi hate group called The Base, in what appears to be a national operation, were detained in Georgia, Maryland, and Delaware. Okay, so basically what happened was, days before the rally, they got these neo-Nazis arrested, and keeping in mind that at least one of them was an illegal alien from Canada who were heading to the rally in Virginia, which, why on earth, if you lived in this country or you were in this country illegally, would you care about the laws in Virginia to own a gun? It doesn't affect you whatsoever. This seemed very weird. And because of these guys, they were able to, the governor was able to basically call it a state of emergency, and had it all blocked off for the attendees carrying weapons, so they couldn't be around the Capitol building. And the interesting thing is, the U.S. neo-Nazi group is called The Base, and that just happens to be exactly what Al-Qaeda means in English. So we'll see what goes on with that. I've got that linked below. Then below, I've got a thread from Incarnated ET, because I always have his threads. I swear I don't just follow him on Twitter. When all of this, you know, with all of this stuff, there are just certain people where you kind of seem to be on the same page on a lot of things. You know, there are a lot of people in the Q community or the Patriot community that are more religious than I am, or they are not as into the health stuff as I am. So there are certain people that I really like almost everything that they post, and he's one of them. He actually put together a really interesting thread that is about marijuana. And since we had been talking about CBD, I know, and I've had a lot of you message me asking me about the CBD I take, or asking me certain questions about it. I thought I'd go over this thread because it seems like a lot of people are interested. And I do think that a lot of people are starting to, you know, waking up is holistic. We have to realize that there has been a war that includes trying to subvert our health and take over our, not only our minds, but our bodies, and through medicine, and not teaching us proper ways to take care of ourselves, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think a lot of people, it's kind of going hand in hand with, I don't want to call it alternative medicine, because these are the things that have been here since time began, and people a long, long time ago knew how to use some of these things. I do believe also in modern medicine, some things, obviously, we shouldn't just say like, oh, forget everything we've learned. But I do think we need to understand that there's been an infiltration, and start to take these matters into our own hands. Just like everything else, we need to educate ourselves, find out what works for us and what doesn't. Thank you, Jimmy. So this thread, I thought, I won't read the entire thing. I've linked it below so you guys can, but it was just, there were a lot of things in here that I didn't really, I'd never heard before. And basically he's talking about all of the systems of the body and how we're not told about there's a system in our body that stimulates homeostasis. So, and just kind of about what homeostasis does to our body, and how when our body gets too far out of whack and it can't bring itself back, it starts to, you know, create disease in the body. And so basically what this has in it is like a breakdown of what, not only what all of the chemical compounds in marijuana combined together are capable of doing, but that basically what I liked about what he said, because it gets very confusing when we start looking in the public eye of like who is advocating for legalizing marijuana, especially when you see, you know, people that you know are not good people starting to advocate for legalizing marijuana. He went into that, and basically what they've done, thank you so much, what they've done is over time, they've done the same thing that they've done to our food. They've basically genetically modified the cannabis that they grow. And so they have really like, the THC levels have gone up through the roof. I remember my mom saying, I remember people, I should probably not throw my mom into the bus, but I remember people saying to me, the weed today is not like it once was. It is incredibly more powerful than it used to be. The THC levels are way more potent. I myself, as somebody that is very sensitive to THC, I absolutely just, I can't smoke, I can't eat it, I can't do anything with it. That is, I hate it. I hate the way that I feel. But you know, I take CBD. I had it explained to me that CBD is almost like an antidote for THC. I had a friend of mine that went to like a very fancy dinner where everything was laced with THC, and they had vials of CBD on the table so that if you started feeling too high, you could come down with the CBD. Well, that is because THC and all of the other chemicals that were naturally, you know, in harmony have been thrown out of whack. And so now it gets you incredibly high. It makes you feel paranoid. It makes you feel, for me, I feel like I'm made out of lead, and I have total paranoia. I can't get up off the couch. I remember for so long, I wanted to like it. I know how pathetic that sounds. It sounds so stupid, but at the time I had a boyfriend who was like a very functional weed smoker. He would get up in the morning and smoke it, and he loved it. It actually, as according to him, it made him more creative. It gave him more energy. It mellowed him out. And I felt like one of those people who like was in church and was the only person that couldn't feel Jesus because I was like, why does everybody love this so much and I hate it? And I kept trying to see what other people saw in it, never got it, always hated it. It never made me feel good. That's why I put off trying even CBD for so long, because I was just like, okay, I know you guys all say that this stuff works for you. That's fine, but it does not work for me. And lo and behold, it works beautifully for me. CBD does. And so it's interesting to learn more about how these things are supposed to be in harmony. And I think worth looking into. There are a lot of people that swear by very miraculous things that happen, that it does for them. And my mom was over actually yesterday, and she had this sinus headache all morning, all day actually. And she's like I was once upon a time. I keep telling her every time she tells me about, oh, my back aches, or oh, I'm not sleeping, or oh, this, and this. I'm like, Mom, take my CBD. She's like, no, I don't want to. I take other medications, and I don't know if it goes with it. So yesterday she had this horrible headache at my house, and I'm like, just take some CBD. So she took it, and then we were sitting there talking, and a couple minutes later she's like, my headache is completely gone. I was like, see, I told you. And she's like, okay, yeah. So she's a believer now. I think she's gonna get some. Whatever. It's just good to know. It's just good to, you know, even if it's not for you, it's good to understand. It's just another example of what they've maybe like kept from us or are, you know, trying to do to us. And not all, you know, CBDs and not all cannabis are created equal. I mean, it's just like our food. You can eat a beautiful salad from a farm and you're going to feel one way, and then you go to Subway and you eat a salad and you're going to feel different, right? I actually learned, I don't know if you guys know this, did you know that there are more Subways in the world than there are McDonald's? I thought that was crazy. And all of the produce, so far as I heard, I don't know for sure, but I heard that all the produce from Subway comes from the same place. So that means those little orange, reddish orange tomatoes that somehow stay like that for days on end, getting shipped out from one local, you know, from one place that is not local, just seems very suspicious. And I wonder how fresh it actually is. Did I put the, oh, speaking of this stuff, there's an article about sunscreen down below, and basically sunscreens leach up to 360 times more toxic chemicals into the blood than the FDA allows, raising risks for liver and kidney failure, study finds. I found out about this, I don't know, I haven't used sunblock in a while, and I really like completely stopped using sunblock 2 years ago, and at the same time I stopped wearing sunglasses, and I will tell you why in a second, but keep in mind that I live in the desert and I spend a lot of time outside. But I had heard, somebody told me that if you wear sunglasses, that there are actually receptors in your eyes that pick up the sunlight, the UV rays, and will actually do something in your skin that kind of protects you more or less. And so somebody had kind of convinced me that if you don't wear sunglasses, you will have a natural defense against the sun. Obviously, I don't recommend still going out and sizzling in the peak hours of UV, you know, nastiness, or staring directly into the sun. But I have not had a sunburn since. I used to get sunburns all the time. I am in the sun just as much now as I once was, if not more. And I have not had a sunburn in 2 years. So take that as you will. I'm obviously just one person. That's just my experience. But I did think that was interesting. So, and there are sunblocks out there that aren't as toxic as these. This actually goes over some of the, it says the FDA indicators tested 6 of the main active ingredients in sunscreen lotions and sprays. All of the chemicals had concentrations in the blood above the FDA threshold of 0.5 nanograms per milliliter of blood plasma. Each ingredient was above the threshold 7 days after the sunscreen was applied, and 2 were above the threshold 21 days after the application. Remember, your skin is an organ, and you're just putting it on, and it will suck up and just drink whatever is on your skin. One chemical is at its highest level was 180.1 nanograms per milliliter, which is 360 times above the threshold. I thought this was kind of funny. The FDA and American Academy of Dermatology stresses the chemicals are safe, but several reports have linked them to hormone disruption in liver and kidney failure. The team stresses that the findings don't mean the public should stop using sunblock, but that more research is needed to determine and affect these levels in the blood. So go ahead and keep killing yourselves while we figure it out, right? Yeah, the 6 chemical ingredients: avobenzone, oxybenzone, octocrylene homosalate, octisalate, and octinoxate. That sounds wonderful. So yeah, beware of what's in your sunblock. Use natural sunblock if you so desire. They make some good baby ones. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but when I was like researching this a couple years ago, before I was really ready to give up on sunblock, I was using the natural stuff, which, you know, I'll be honest, it's like the natural stuff, the science, because the money's not there to go into really exploring these as much as it is in the mainstream kind of chemical crap that we put on ourselves. Yeah, they're cakier, or they turn white, or they don't absorb as well, or they don't work as well, or they don't smell good, or whatever it is, but that's just what we have to put up with at this point. Project Veritas has a new video out. Yeah, zinc sunblock. Zinc sunblock is good, but again, that is it's reflective. So if you take pictures or whatever, you're going to be blown out as white looking, if that's something that you care about. Yeah, coconut oil I've heard has a natural sunblock in it, like SPF 4 or 6 or something like that. So yeah, there are other things that you can look into. So the Project Veritas came out this morning. It was the second paid staffer for Bernie Sanders that was exposed by Project Veritas. This guy's name is Martin Weisgerber. He said, "I'll straight up get armed. I'm ready for this effing revolution. Guillotine the rich. Send Republicans to re-education camps." Just some dork, another dork. What he's saying is obviously very dangerous. But man, what these people say behind closed doors is very scary. And I have to admit, it reminds me of a couple people I know. These are not just these like isolated extremists. I really do believe that there are these people out there that have been so indoctrinated. This guy even admits that he wasn't radicalized until he went to college. And in college, he got radicalized. Among all the other dumb things he says. But at least in that moment, it was like a moment of truth. He deleted his Twitter already. As far as I know, the Bernie campaign is still yet to comment on either of these two knuckleheads. So if you guys haven't seen that video yet, I suggest watching it. James O'Keefe has kind of alluded to there being more coming. So I remember when the first one came out, everyone was like, well, it's just one guy. Just one guy that works for him that says this stuff. So no, it's just two guys. It's just two guys that say these crazy things in Bernie's campaign. So we'll see if there's a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a 16th. There might be. Who knows what these people talk about? Well, now we do, behind closed doors. Now we do, because we have Project Veritas. I like the idea that Project Veritas is possibly, I don't know, it just seems like it's almost like Tom Fitton, like Judicial Watch. There's just part of me that's like, they're doing such an awesome job. Not that like, I don't know, I just feel like they are more connected. There are bigger people backing them, I think, than what meets the eye. Because these are not easy things to do. Last thing that I have for you on here, O'Keefe can bogart a Twitter timeline like no other. Man buns crack me up. We should probably switch it from man buns to like boy buns, because I don't think that men typically share hairstyles with like ballerinas and Kardashians. So let that be a memo. Make a note of it. Trump State of the Union address. Mark your calendar. President Trump will address a joint session of the United States Congress, aka State of the Union address, on Tuesday, February 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Wait, what? Why do I have February 4th, 2019? Sometimes I put things in my notes and I don't pay attention to them very much. I don't know if that was a typo on my part, their part, but I saw that today, that someone announced that he was going to be giving a State of the Union address. So don't quote me on that, you guys. because I've had a rough week. My dog died. Actually, my dog did really die. Not to bum you guys out or anything. She was very old. She was on borrow time as it was. I knew she was going, but yeah. That's been my week so far. And there have been Q drops. So go check that out. One of the things that Q posted was a link to a video of President Eisenhower giving that speech of, you know, beware the military-industrial complex, which is a very important speech if you guys haven't seen it. I know I've put it in, I don't even remember what video it was, one of my earliest videos. I talked about that, and I think even put a clip of it, but I don't really remember. Hi guys. And oh, thanks. It's okay. I had that dog for like 11 or 12 years, and she had one eye, and she was a rescue, and the rescue actually told me that she was found in a dumpster taking care of kittens. I don't really know what that means, but she had a very good life. But like towards the end she lost the vision in her one eye, her only one eye. And so she would just like run full speed into the walls all day long. She never learned how to navigate this house, and she just would bump into the walls. Rescues are the best. Yeah, I've had 3 rescues in my adult life. Actually, I was thinking about it the other day, or yesterday or whatever. This is the first time I've not had a dog in my entire life. So that's weird. I'm not in a rush to get a new one though. I just have so much going on. It would really be a lot, but my kid doesn't know yet. And he hasn't noticed yet. I swear to God. So I don't really know what I'm gonna say. I think I might just do the really noble thing that my parents did and lie my ass off and just say like, oh, she's at a farm. I remember in college, I was at a movie with my friend Jenny, and in the movie, they were kind of making a joke about the parents lying and saying that the dog went to go live on a farm. And afterwards, we were talking about it, we were kind of laughing, and I was like, God, yeah, you know, my parents told me that same thing too. And she's like, yeah, mine did too, but my dog actually did go to live on a farm. And I was like, Jenny, and she's like, no, really, they went to go live on a farm. I was like, Jenny. She was like, she called her mom, and her mom was like, don't tell your siblings. And that's how she found out that her dog had died and I don't know if it's like a universal, like, I don't know why all parents just tell this lie, but it works, I guess. I don't know if it's gonna work for my kid, because he tells me every day he wants to go to a farm. So that'll just give him one more reason to be like, hey, let's just go to the farm that Cricket was at. So I might have to come up with something else. If you guys think of any good ways to lie to my kid, let me know. Thank you. Oh, Brad Pitt is in the chat, I see. Oh, does he need to go maybe? Would I ever do a stream with no makeup on? You guys don't want that. Dog joins Space Force. Kind of like that. I kind of like the dog joined Space Force. Where dogs can be dogs. I like that. Dog the Bounty Hunter joining Space Force. Yeah, that is Nikola Tesla. Get a grip. Well, thanks, guys. I don't know. Do we have anything else that we want to chitty chat about? What did we go over? We went over the rally. Oh, the Senate hearing happened today. I will admit, or started today. I will admit I watched 0 minutes of it. I was busy and just didn't feel like it, to be honest. Thank you so much, Angelica. Thank you. Do you watch Rose Hannah's channel? She does all the videos about crazy song language and lip-speaking celebs do on camera. She said celebs communicating about solar eclipse the cabal hid from us. Interesting. No, I haven't. What about Trump's recent comments? Trump's recent comments. What has Trump recently said? I don't remember. Oh, scroll. Would I give up makeup for a year if Trump got reelected? I don't know if you're the same person that last week was asking me about makeup, but I really don't care about makeup either way. Literally, the only time I really put on makeup is to sit here and talk to you people. That's not true. I wear makeup every day, but not a lot. But there are literally 1 million places to watch people talk about makeup on YouTube. Oh, Trump's speech at the conference. I gotcha. Yes, and he tweeted, read the transcript. That's right. That was actually one of the cue drops. Coronavirus. Yeah, the coronavirus. I recently retweeted something about that. There are 6 deaths so far. It's in China. It has reached Japan. What else? Was it South Korea? And there was one person that they were looking at in Australia that potentially had it. So good luck, Rob. Wear a mask. But yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot on that. Oh, we've got Hillary was talking smack about Bernie Sanders. They're all just kind of eating each other right now, which is very interesting and also a lot of fun. We got some really low energy trolls. I don't mind trolls. I expected trolls. I knew I would have trolls eventually. And I guess maybe it is a reflection of myself. Maybe once I get better, my trolls will get better and more interesting and funnier. I just wish my trolls were funny. But they're not funny. Hi, Jeff. Thank you. Your live streams are always so interesting. Keep up the good work. It is in Washington State, according to Jordan Sather. What's in Washington State? Oh, are you talking about the coronavirus? That's scary. Scary anywhere. I'm sad to hear anybody. But then there's also, I saw they've got like a vaccine for it already, which is suspicious. Well, yep, that's all I have for you guys today. This one was a short one, but we had less days to cover. I'm sure we'll get into all the Senate stuff as I can drag myself by my sideburns to go and watch all of it. Because I will admit I hate it, even though I trust the plan, I still hate all these people. I hate having to look at Adam Schiff's bulbous head. See his little lips moving. But I love you guys very much, and I will see you Tuesday, and yeah, that's all I have for you. See you Tuesday.